JoeySuki.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, good, man. And you?
Yeah, I'm very well, very well. Good to be back with you.
You
Um,
mentioned it's the third time, but I think it's the second.
is it?
I think yeah, on this show it's the second, but we've done for my podcast and we've called several times. But I think for the Music Monday it's the second time.
Really, really? Well, I mean, we are so close already that it feels like we've been on the show for
Exactly.
the third
Feels like we've been together
time.
for years.
Yeah, yes, 100%. So how have you been?
All good, man. Yeah, it's been a good period, summer has been really good. We had great weather in the Netherlands, so it kind of felt like having a holiday in your own country.
Yeah,
Um, we've all stayed healthy in my environment, like my family and friends, so that's great as well.
yeah, same here.
And yeah, and the the business is doing really well as
Oh, that's
well.
good to hear.
So
That's good to hear. So normally you would expect the business to go down, right?
yeah, well, yeah,
So
in most cases, especially when you talk about bars and restaurants and stuff right now, that's a terrible place to be an entrepreneur in.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And I mean, we can't make a secret out of it, but I mean, like DJing is still a horrible thing, and
Yeah,
touring
man.
is not an option right now. So, and I feel that a lot of people are getting innovative in terms of doing different things in terms of tutorials and sample packs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Not directly from the beginning, but you see now they start to realize that long term it won't happen with DJing anymore. So the guys who are really producing themselves and have the skill to do everything. They are just,
oh.
hey, here we go.
I was already afraid of this happening.
Yeah, you was.
I use this like I use this candle thing, or is it this? Super professional, super professional.
Yeah, well, I
Okay,
mean,
I'll just hold it. I'll just hold it. But
no, 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 it's fine. You can. I mean, I just got a little camera stand,
got
which works
yeah,
very well.
I've got one, but it's at the office. So right
Ah,
now
and
I'm at home. So
okay, I see, I see. Yeah, well, I mean, so I've seen a couple of people doing those kind of things now.
yeah, yeah,
And offering tutorials and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is pretty obvious to do stuff like that,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So, but now yeah, I've talked to several people in the last couple of weeks
Hmm.
who got got in touch with me and saying, "Hey, Eddie, I saw you doing this Refine Productions already quite a while." And it's weird because I started this Refine Productions, I think 2 weeks before the madness started.
Yeah.
So
Is that called bad timing or is that called good timing?
I think I was a visionary. No,
You saw this coming miles like years ago.
no, not really. But I mean, we all saw it already in February with China
Yes,
happening, and
exactly.
then but I mean, I felt like doing this already for quite some time, but then I just got my shit together and said to myself, okay, Eddie, now's the time to really change something and do what you always wanted to do, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And yeah, and yeah, built this company from scratch, but I didn't know how, because there were so many different roads to take and so many possibilities and thinking about, well, the idea is there, but how can I put that really into action?
it
That
it's
was the
kind of
problem.
exciting, right? Because you literally start at the beginning again.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
well, hmm
yeah, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I started from the beginning, exactly.
yeah, well, because you've kind of got used to the fact that you were operating in a world where you have been active for like over 10 years, probably.
Over 20?
Over 20 as an artist. Well, there you go. Uh, so getting started in a new business, well, at least I always think that's exciting because puts you in a different mindset. It forces you to become creative again, while it's attractive to become lazy if everything goes well.
Yeah.
So to me, I always think it's nice to start something new because you challenge yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm challenging myself every morning again.
Yeah.
Not this week because I'm on holiday. Well, I said to myself, because I've worked my ass off since the beginning of March, like full on 7 days a week.
Hmm.
So, but the good thing is I'm not tired. I'm not oversaturated with things because I just learned how to keep the balance between
Hmm.
everything, between work, friends, sports, health, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's one crucial thing that you have to get the balance right between all ingredients to
Yeah.
be able to be doing this long term without stopping. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's one, yeah, you see, there's right there, we are on the first interesting thing. Getting the
Well,
balance right, you know?
it's something that it might come natural to you, um, but I noticed that a lot of other artists are really struggling with this, especially when you talk about the artists who are having a side job, still are in school, and at the same time want to pursue a career in music. So they have this full-time, maybe part-time thing going on,
Yeah,
but at the same time, they also want to pursue their career. And just as any other business, if you want to start a business, like you mentioned, the last 7 months you worked 7 days a week. You worked
yeah,
your ass off.
yeah,
That is the only way to build a business
yeah,
as an
100%.
entrepreneur, but also as an artist, because it's gonna take you a lot of energy and a lot of time.
It does, 100%.
And I think it's just important to find that balance between the two things you do. So prioritizing what's important right now, what
Yeah,
needs my attention right now, and that seems to be a pretty tough thing for people to do
yeah.
because they
I
want to
mean,
do it. They want to do it all at
yeah, yeah, of
once.
course, of course. I mean, I've been in these shoes.
Mm.
When I was at university, I started DJing when I was 14. Um, and oh, sorry, I just have to get these cables right. Otherwise, the same
Doesn't
thing
matter.
happens to me, you
Super
know.
professional live
Super,
stream.
yeah, super professional live stream. That's
Yeah,
how it is. So
yeah.
anyway, well, for me, I started with 14, and back then that was in 1992.
I was 4 at
Well,
1992.
congratulations. I was 14. So
Yeah.
anyway, I started with that. Of course, I was still in school,
Hmm.
and then I knew my parents always said, this is just a thing, that
It's a phase.
will be that's a phase that will be over in a couple of months, half a year. The turntables will be lying around. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I still have my first turntable, so that's a thing that I'll never sell.
Hmm.
But and then high school came. I finished high school, and then I said, okay, now I got to decide what to do. And my parents were always like, hey, you have to learn something that is like for your future and that is safe and brings you money, so you're always safe in your life. And then I said, yeah, for God's sake, what am I going to do? So I
Mm.
followed the footsteps of my father, which is dentist. So, and I studied dentistry at the same time. um, I kept on making music and developed my skills for producing,
Hmm.
and then I remember that I did my exams in 2006 in dentistry, and then right in the exams, which were like an absolute nightmare. It's like 16 um, tests you have to take in a group of three. And in the middle of it, and it goes for half a year, you know?
Yeah.
No, 3 months, 3 months in a row, 16 tests in 3 months. And during that time, Love Sensation came out, which was one of my biggest successes that I had, So, and that like directly was full speed ahead with DJing and all that kind of stuff. So I was in the middle of a, yeah, struggle with myself. What am I going to do,
Yeah,
But then I said,
it sounds like you've got like the old school way of growing up.
Yeah,
At least that's the
exactly.
way how I see it, because I've grown up in the same kind of age. It's a 10-year difference, but with the same mindset, I might say.
Yeah,
Um, and that's the big difference with these days, because ever since the internet came around, um, there's so much opportunity, there's so much choices that it's not just picking a school, it's also like pursuing your dream and building your hobby is an option. It's like a real option these days. You can
yeah,
make a living by making YouTube videos, a decent living.
yeah,
You can make a living by making podcasts, a really decent living if you do
yeah,
it well.
yeah,
And that is something that has changed over the years, as in you used to become a baker or you work in a factory, and that was kind of it,
yeah,
like a simple job, and you went
yeah,
to the school who educated you for that certain job. But now you can literally do anything. You can make money with everything as long as you're dedicated to it and
yeah.
put some work into it. That's a big difference, I feel, because I've had the same education as you had, the same path, but these days children are more open to discovering the other options.
Oh, here we go. We
Oh,
were
there
gone
you
for
go.
a second.
Yeah.
Sorry. Professional live
Yeah.
stream. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You are absolutely right. Well, I remember in 2006 when that last sensation thing came to life.
Hmm.
I remember sending out CDs, of course, but uh, we had internet back then, but it was
Yeah, but it's different.
56K modem, so
Yeah.
you had to unplug the phone to
Yeah.
put in that modem and go like, and then you
Yeah.
were like happy when you could open Google or something like that,
Yeah.
But you're exactly right, and also back then, there hasn't been so much in terms of options, like you said. And
Hmm.
also, this people didn't know about that mindset thing back then,
Not at all. No.
not at all.
No.
So back then they said, okay, I've learned the job and I'm doing this job, if I
Hmm.
like it or if I don't, I have to bring in the money. So, and
Yeah.
now the options are, you have way more options nowadays. And also people start to dig deeper into thoughts and, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
becoming
But that
aware.
that's also that's the result of living in a too luxury world,
Yep.
because you have a couple of first priorities in life, which is having food on the table, being safe, having a roof above your head. Those are kind of the things you are focusing on first in life, because without that you can't focus on anything else, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So the result of living in a world which has become too great for us. We have all the food in the world that we want to. You want to eat sushi? Go and grab sushi. Want to
Yeah.
eat satay? Go and eat satay. There's anything,
Frikandel, you can eat
exactly,
that.
anything you want, and you can just order it and it will come by. So food, having a roof above your head, feeling safe in most cases is not a problem anymore. So we now have the time to focus on other things. Other
Yeah.
things like, hey, aside from all those super basic things, why am I feeling so unhappy, or why am I feeling lonely in this world where I have a lot of friends? And those are things that they back in the days there was no room for thought about those topics, because you needed to work your ass off to make a living and to pay for your rent and all the other stuff. Right now we live in a world where, well, there is an option to spend time thinking on those topics.
Yes.
And I think right now is the best time, because it looks like society is kind of collapsing on things like burnouts, depressions, suicides. All those kind of things are going up and up and up. And I think that that's a big, big signal of the world, like something's off here,
Yeah.
something's not going well. We live in the best time ever. And at the same time, everyone's unhappy.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me, especially if you have a look at the artist world, at the music industry.
Yeah.
How is it possible that people with the best jobs in the world, you might say, can feel so lonely or so depressed if they have all you need in life, all the
Yeah.
money you need, all the people admiring you, but still feel so lonely. That's
Yeah.
super interesting to me.
Yeah. I've been at that point.
Yeah, me too.
I've
Yeah.
I've been at the point where I had like on the top of my success, which was in 2013, when I did all the stuff with Eric, rest in peace.
Hmm.
All the stuff we've done together, and that made me like touring the globe like insanely, you know. But because I was just starting to focus on just success, 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 and touring, touring, money, 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 and all that stuff, you know, I lost focus on everything else. You know, I
And
lost
what's everything else to you? Like, because you focus on
uh,
every. Hmm.
relationship,
Okay.
family, social contacts, because you were touring and the rest of the time you were just talking to your manager, to your booker, working in the studio, and just focusing on yourself. I got such an egoistic person that I just like watching my way, which was just up and forward and more
Yeah.
and more and more, you
Which
know?
makes sense if you want to become successful. That kind of is a natural thing to do. If
Yeah.
you think about those running horses, what do they wear? They wear
Yeah, of
caps
course. Yeah,
because
sure.
they don't see what's going on beside them because that's distractive.
Yeah,
You want to focus on your goal, which is the end line.
yeah,
So it's a normal thing to do for someone who has such a big drive to become successful.
yeah.
There's just one downside is that you forget about all the other things that are valuable to you.
Yeah. And I even for you know, for me it was just like I could, at the stage where I started to feel unhappy, I wasn't, my body was feeling very unhappy as well, you
Hmm.
know. So I was really, I couldn't, when I went to bed I couldn't fall asleep because my heart was racing, my thoughts were just running through my head, and I didn't know what to do about it, you know. So I was just like, I was afraid. I got yeah,
Anxiety.
I got like anxiety, and all of a sudden you feel lonely, and then it comes like a hammer,
Hmm.
you know. It's just you don't realize it from the beginning, but you will realize it in full swing at one certain point. Either way,
Yeah.
your body breaks down or your mind breaks down, because you can't keep running in full speed without a
Yeah.
balance.
But you know what's weird to me now,
Yeah,
now that I know how those things work,
yeah,
once your body starts to give you signs,
yeah,
like your heart racing,
yeah,
or some people have stress in their neck here, like
yeah,
until that bone that goes up. Um, Once you start to feel that your body's literally, well, contracting, like literally from the stress, you're kind of like
yeah,
contracting,
yeah.
and you feel tired without doing anything. That's your body telling you something. That's your
Of
body
course,
giving you a sign like, hey,
signal.
something's
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
something's going wrong. And what's weird to me is that why don't we know those things? I had to
yeah.
learn it.
Exactly.
I had to learn it through the hard way, and it sounds like you did as well.
Hardcore. Yeah,
And that to me is weird. Like, why don't we know this just as we know that we have a heart and that we have blood and that we have muscles? Why don't we know those things that once our body starts to contract, or if you get anxiety or whatever, that's the sign of your body telling you that something's going wrong and you need to work on your inner self.
yeah. Exactly. And that's what we know now, you know.
Yeah.
But it's now that we know what we can do about it, which is most of the times it can be, it's very simple, but it's hard to get out of that habit. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it's
Mm.
like it's a really hard fight to change your habits that you learned over the last couple of years. You know, that you made your habits. You
Yeah.
know, just like focusing on yourself, getting up directly, coffee, work, 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 tour, 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 release music here, blah, blah, blah. You
Yeah.
know, you have you have to learn to unlearn the things that made you, put you into that position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
and that actually, for, Yeah, I mean, it's for us, it's like absolutely obvious. If you see, I've seen friends of mine going through that struggle, not because of music, but in general, like feeling sad, depressed, and if you take a look on that in an objective kind of way,
Mhm.
you somehow know what needs to be done because you go and tell, man, it's just obvious. There's absolutely no balance in your life. You're just focusing on one thing and you're stressing
Yeah.
your thing. You're taking your you're taking your work home. You're thinking constantly talking about it and thinking about it. And that doesn't give your body the rest it needs,
No.
sleeping bad, drinking, no sports, eating bad, that kind of stuff
Mm.
that is killing your body, and your
Yeah.
mind as well, you know. So
Yeah, it's super true. It's all, it sounds so basic and it
it
sounds
is.
so,
It sounds so easy, like, oh, come on, that can't be it. But in the
yeah,
end, you can do so many things by yourself
yeah.
in a very easy way. Just like change 15 minutes in your day. That can change your whole life already, right?
It can have a big impact. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Yeah.
what's weird is that somehow you get lost in those new habits and you get lost in the life of running from flight to flight, eating unhealthy, not going for a workout because you're tired of the traveling. Could be anything, but it's so tempting to skip those basic elements.
Yes.
And but I think it's wider than just the music industry, like
It's
why
yeah, it's
we
general
know,
problem.
yeah, because we know that we have to go to the gym to work out because it's healthy, but why is 60% of the people not doing it? There's something in the mind, something in the brain, that makes those things unattractive. While everyone knows once you've been, you have a great feeling.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, same for me. I'm in Berlin right now,
Hmm.
and when I'm at home in Mülheim, which is in the Midwest of Germany, when I'm there, I'm like the most focused person that I've ever met. You
How's
know,
that? What changes?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But when I'm here, when I'm home, I have my routine. I go to CrossFit 4 times a week. I eat super healthy, and I feel like I could um, um, rip out a big tree every morning. When I wake
Mm-hmm.
up, I always wake up 5 minutes prior my alarm clock, and I'm just like standing in bed and said, "Okay, let's go." You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And here I'm just like, oh, I can't, and then, but it's just because um, I lost the focus here. I'm losing the focus a little bit here. You know what I mean? So you're not doing your everyday routines, and you're
Exactly.
I should meditate. At 9 a.m. I always meditate. So since I'm here since a week and I haven't meditated once, so which is like I know that it's bad for my body and it's bad for my brain if I don't do that.
Yeah.
But why is it that people do it like this? Why does it happen?
Well, the thing that I do know is that once you break one habit, so that's what most people experience when they're on a holiday.
Yeah,
If they break a certain pattern, so waking up each day at the same time in the same location, going for the same coffee machine, blah blah blah.
yeah,
Once you break that habit by simply moving your place into another environment, if you already have to get used to the new habit of one thing, so the environment, it's easier to break other habits at the same time because
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
you're already like dealing with this big change. It's easier to, for example, if you want to stop smoking, it's better to do it when you're already like just moving with your home, for example. If you just moved out of your apartment,
yeah.
going to a different home, that's kind of the best moment to stop smoking as well, because in your old place you might have had your old
Routine.
habits,
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah, of
routine.
course. Yeah, yeah.
After dinner, I went to the balcony to have a smoke. There is no balcony in a new place, so you need to find a new routine. So that's the best moment for you to yeah to
Unlearn things.
unlearn things and reroute a new habit, something that works for you instead of blocks you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not a very happy person right now here in Berlin, but I know that as soon as I'm home, then I'm like, yeah, Eddie, when I'm back home, then you are going to change again, you know? So it's like angel devil on my shoulder, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But yeah, I can feel it in my body that I don't have to drive. I still have drive, but I don't have the same drive like when I'm home. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
You know what that could be?
what?
The first thing, the first and easiest thing you can do to change a habit is to change the environment,
Yeah,
because that's the most easiest thing to do. You know, if you want to stop smoking, don't buy cigarettes. Simple.
easy,
Simplest
normally.
thing,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And if that doesn't seem to work, then you go into the deeper layers of yourself.
yeah,
That's when it becomes hard to change. But the most easiest thing to do is to change your environment. And it sounds like what you did, you moved your place. So you're in a different environment that
yeah,
has an effect on your mindset and on your mood and those kind of things.
yeah. So what should I do?
To come back into that mindset, productive mindset,
Yeah,
figure out what it was in your, like Berlin, right?
yeah.
Yeah, what it was in Berlin that got you into that mindset. Was it your alarm clock, maybe? Something, there is a trigger somewhere that puts you in that mindset.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, could be anything.
Yeah, I, I I need to figure it out. I'm also like doing my plan every morning when I wake up. So
Yeah,
you know that I'm like a very structured person, you know. So I'm
I know.
always
Yeah.
fit. But you can tell by just looking through the weeks when I was in Berlin without reading it. You can tell when I was in Berlin and when I was home.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So and that is probably something I because that is the first thing that I do at home every morning. Just fill out, make my morning mindset. You know,
And
just
that's something you don't do when you're in Berlin.
no.
Then that might be your trigger.
Yeah, well then, come on. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. I'm
Yeah.
getting down to business again.
Yeah, but maybe that's it. If you sit down in the morning and become aware of all the things you want to achieve that day, if that's something, I can imagine that that's a super positive trigger for you to become a more productive person.
Yeah,
And if that's something you don't do in your new place,
I do. I can't. I'm not doing a lot of things in my new in the new place here in Berlin. So I'm not going. I'm not able to do CrossFit because CrossFit here is the double price than it is at
really,
in Mülheim. Yeah, yeah.
they
It's
just
like
don't
in
want you to become fit or what?
I have no idea, but it's like everything here is like so much more pricey, you know.
Hmm.
So living is very expensive over here, and then sports is very expensive. So I mean, thank God there are calisthenics parks. So I know there's a calisthenics park pretty close,
Hmm.
so I could go there.
Just not close enough.
Close. Well, it's a 15-minute run, and then you're there.
50.
15.
Ah, okay. No, that's
One
okay.
five. I mean, this is a good warm up. Run there, make your thing, and go back, and then you're
Yeah,
like a happy person. I'll
sounds
do
like
that
a good
tomorrow
one.
morning. Tomorrow
Do it.
morning, I promise I'll do it, and
Do it.
I'll let you know tomorrow if it works.
Yeah, let me know because I think it definitely, well, not definitely, but I wouldn't be surprised if that little book is your trigger in the morning.
Yeah, well, hopefully,
That's what
hopefully.
it's built for. That's
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
made for.
exactly. And it did the trick. And the funny thing is, if I when there have been weeks where I haven't followed my routine, I've seen my business going slightly dipping, you know, like my efficiency in work.
This is interesting. I want to talk about you. I want to talk with you about this because I've been thinking about this as well. I've been running my own business for like, well, artist coaching for almost 5 years, but I've been working for my own for like my 15 years.
Yeah,
I started thinking about that as well. Like, okay, how much would it impact my business if I did not work for a week or 2 weeks?
yeah,
And until this day, I could not connect like the small dips to a certain lack of productivement or whatever, like
yeah,
I never could explain why there was a small dip.
yeah.
But you clearly say like, okay, that's because I didn't work that much.
I wasn't focused as much.
But you
That's
notice
the
that in your revenue.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, in the efficiency in work mode because you know that I normally get up at 5:30 in the morning. go to CrossFit. I'm home at 7:30 and I already went to CrossFit and went out with my dog. Now it's 7 o'clock and I'm just like, oh, I need to get up, you know? So, and that's because my time is absolutely organized throughout the day. And now I don't have enough time anymore when I sleep longer and when I'm lazy, you know?
Hmm.
So, and then I'm not the focused person during these hours anymore. So there are, in those days, there are not these hours like I used to have, you know, and I
That
can't
makes
even,
sense.
yeah, you know what I mean?
That
So,
makes
and
sense. Yeah.
yeah,
But
so,
but
and
there's one thing I learned over time, and that's that you don't need to work a lot of hours to be
no, of course,
productive.
no, of course, no.
Actually, if you work a lot of
Yeah,
hours, I don't think you're really productive. That's to
no,
me.
I'm not working. I used to, and most of the people watching are probably and who want to achieve stuff. You guys who are watching, you're probably when you're working in the studio and you have a good vibe, you keep working, even when it's the weekend and you work like you're 12 hours in the studio. You come out of the studio with square eyes. You know what I mean? So, and we all have done it. Joe, you
Yep.
have done it as well, like being in the studio for 3 days straight with little breaks in between, like
Yeah.
a couple of naps here and there. But that's that doesn't do it for me anymore. You know, I'm not in my 20s anymore, so I can't do it. So, um, but I feel now I have less time, but I'm using that time absolutely wisely.
More effective.
And
Yeah.
yeah, very, very effective. And I'm turning off my emails and I'm turning off my phone, which
Hmm.
is like the most crucial thing to do. If you want to work efficiently, uh, put off, turn off your distractions
Yeah.
because that's when you're getting into the zone.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
when
and
you're,
ag- again, that has something to do with your habit, right? If you notice that you're not being productive,
yeah,
changing your environment, so literally leave your phone outside of the studio or leaving your phone outside of the office,
yeah,
um, could really help because for most people, not being productive is kind of connected to the phone.
yeah. So here we go. You know, so there's another thing. A lot of people writing me are saying, well, I can't get into my zone, I can't focus, and somehow I have a writer's block, so it feels like I don't have just like one little piece of wood in front of my head. I just have a
Mhm.
full forest in front of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no input at all, you know. So and I think one thing is because they are not getting into that potential
Yeah.
inspiration zone
Into the
because it's
deep
just like
focus.
it goes like ping ping reminder here, and then they probably have WhatsApp on their studio computer as well, so it always blinks up. I've actually never used online WhatsApp, never in my
No?
life. No. And
Hmm.
iMessage as well, never. Yeah, I mean it's I think that's something that would absolutely distract me. So, I mean, this phone outside the studio and emails off is a thing that I've just started to do at the beginning of the year,
Hmm.
and it really works,
I can
you know?
imagine. Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
if you can't focus, for the people watching, if you can't really focus and have those feelings as well that you can't get into your own zone, try to uh, try to keep your distractions outside your work zone. If it's if it's if it's your phone, if it's emails, if it's your mother screaming that you need to bring out the trash, or if it's children or your dog or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, you know. But
Mm.
try to, if you're going to work in any field, it doesn't need to be studio, but in anything, you know. So I think it's just if you really want to get into the focus, you should avoid distractions, and that's the easiest thing. That's the easiest first step to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's something that's super valuable to know for every artist because if there's one big problem these days as an artist, it's
Yeah,
the distractions you have. Because,
yeah,
as you mentioned, if your studio computer has access to the internet, you're already kind of fucked. Because before you know it, you've opened up Firefox, and before you know it, you're on Facebook scrolling, looking at what your niece has done with her dog, and you're like, okay, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
And the only way well, not the only way, but the easiest way to kill that distraction is just simply plugging out the cable and the Wi-Fi.
That's absolutely right.
So one of the things that helped me pretty long time ago, I started putting my phone onto if you have an iPhone, on what's the English version? Like the moon?
The charging station, right?
No, there's like a moon button. Is it like the evening?
Yeah, of course. I know what you mean.
The do not disturb button.
Yeah.
Perfect, because no push notifications get through, no calls get through. Yeah, push melding is a push notification.
The push melding.
Yeah, push melding.
So, here we go with Dutch lessons.
Exactly.
Except, so that's the good thing, So I always do it when I go to sleep. I turn that sleep mode on.
I think it's the same button, right? It's the
sleep mode. Yeah, with the moon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one I have on the whole day.
Yeah, so only the emergency contacts can come through.
Exactly, and that's like 10 people in my life who are able to call.
Yeah, me as well.
You're on it as well.
Okay, of course, I knew it.
And if someone calls you twice within 5 minutes, I believe, then it gets through as well, because most of the time it's an emergency if that happens. So then it needs to get through. But it saves me so much time, because your screen doesn't light up, it doesn't make any sound, you just don't get distracted.
Yes.
And by doing that, you won't have to leave your phone outside or whatever, because it just doesn't ring.
Of course, yeah, that's absolutely right. So I wanted to get a little bit into the artist perspective for the people who are watching. First of all, I want to ask the people who are watching, if you have any questions for us, just write them down. We are going to answer them in the last 15 minutes of the show, but it's good if you can post them now. So we are happy to answer anything. That's what we are here for. So now imagine, people would probably like to know a little bit more about your business artist coaching. So they want to know, what does JoeySuki of Artist Coaching NL bring to the table? Why should I come and join the gang? You know what I mean? What do you exactly do? Most of the people don't know about it.
Yeah. Well, it's good to realize that I founded the business because of my own struggle. I've been into a burnout. I've been an artist myself, and I literally quit my career because I wasn't happy being an artist, touring the world just as you did. And I just wasn't happy in that life. And again, that got me to the question, like, how is it possible to live the dream life and still not be happy? How is that possible?
Yeah.
And when I needed treatment because I was mentally ill at that moment, it was hard to me to find the right person, because nobody, like a psychologist, it helped, but it didn't really help me enough. And finally, I visited a coach, and that person really opened up my eyes. But that got me thinking, like, why isn't there something like an artist coach who is kind of always there? Like in your career, you have a booker and a manager, but those people work for you and they're there to make money on your back. But there's no one to really protect you as a person. And I think that became really clear in the whole Avicii story. There was no one outside of his family or something that kind of watched him as a person, and that, well, not necessarily guarded him, but gave him insights on what's going on in his own mind and why he feels what he feels and why he does what he does. I'm not sure if he had a coach, by the way, but I just think it's weird that not every artist has one. I actually think it's weird that not every human being has one, because we're not built to do this alone. We need help from anyone.
Yeah.
So that got me thinking, like, why doesn't this exist? And I started Googling, found out that I couldn't really find something that seems similar to that idea. So I thought, you know what, let's just start it off myself. So
yeah,
I founded Artist Coaching, and right now, 5 years later, we have a company where there's kind of three packages. We focus
Yeah.
on the creative aspect of the artist, the career aspect, and the mental aspect.
Yeah.
Those are the three stages that we believe an artist goes through in his artist journey. It always starts with the creative aspect. You first need to get your music to a good level, to a decent level, right?
Yeah.
That's where it all starts. So that's where we have mentors, which can guide you through that musical process to help you, like, hey, have you checked out this or have you checked out that? So that's where it starts. Once your music is at a decent enough level, that's where you go into the career coaching. And that's
Yeah.
where you're going to take a look at, hey, how can you actually start making a living from this? So how can you go from making music to making money from your music?
Yeah.
And the last aspect is if all your music has been released, and your music is starting to perform pretty well on Spotify, for example, or if it's been supported a lot, and if you get a lot of deals from big record labels, that's when you go into the mental coaching, and that's where we will really help you to remain to be mentally balanced and happy in life, but also in your career. So that's where we kind of monitor all the aspects, like how are you doing in your business and how are
Yeah.
you doing as a person. So you kind of go through all those three stages, and we do monthly subscriptions. So every month you come by, have 1 hour sessions with your coach, and yeah, it's either for growth as in your career or for growth as a person in your life.
That's absolutely amazing. So it's great that something like this is there. I mean, think about it, if we had these background informations 10 years ago,
Mm,
you
would be
know,
great.
or 15 years ago, we would have gone a total different direction, you know?
I
As
wonder what I would have changed. I wonder what
I
I.
think I think for me, I would have been way more empathic. You know
Mm,
what I mean? You know what I
mm,
mean? Like way more helpful, and I would probably have built a whole bunch of people around myself instead of doing this elbow thing that everybody at the top is doing or
mm,
tries to do, you know? So I think I would have built like a whole family around myself, you know, with
mm,
like-minded people, would have spread the word that thank God we know a lot of people, and we've and our reach is pretty good, you
mm.
know. So I think the time now to spread this awareness it's absolutely essential. And I'm just like, even though it's late, better late than never. You know what I mean? So
I'm not sure if it's too late.
no, it's not too.
If
It's too late for me as an artist. You know, it's
yeah, okay, because
too late
I
for me.
wonder if right now you what I notice is right now people are open to think about it, because 5 years ago it was all abracadabra and
Yes,
this
yes,
weird
yes. So
shit that they didn't want
that's
to
so
talk about.
true. That's so true.
But right
This
now is
generation, yeah,
yeah, right now this generation is kind of the first generation that says, like, it's completely normal to talk about your mental health and to open up about your insecurities. And that's new to me, because 10
yeah.
years ago, talking about your insecurities was kind of not done.
No, no, you were uncool when you weakness. It was weakness, you
Well,
know.
it was considered to be a weakness. Yeah,
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 maybe,
exactly.
yeah.
And now it's like it's honesty and open-hearted, open mind. Like this is what people need. You know,
Hmm.
people need to, because there are so many like-minded people out there that facing the same problems that we have faced
Yeah,
and probably still facing at some point. But this is, you know, sharing is caring. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And you can see a lot of people who are watching already. Already, I saw a couple of
yeah.
comments already that people were saying like, that is what people need to hear. You know,
Hmm.
and I think working together, and what you said at the beginning, everyone in this world, not only in the music industry, but everyone in the world needs help at some point, you know.
Yeah.
You come to the point where you're feeling down, or where you are simply stuck with something. You need some people that will help you get on your feet again and march on, you know.
It's simply too complicated. Life is too complicated to
It
understand by
is, it is.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why
Yeah.
you need people it's, yeah, how can I say it? It's not a weakness to ask for help, you
I
know?
think it's a strength.
It's 100%. It's just being straightforward. I'm saying that I've been in big gaps, and I've felt depressed and stuff like that, and I was
Mm.
lost. I was so lost. But thank God to things like coaching. Actually, coaching brought me back to life.
Hmm.
Although I taught it myself. I didn't have a life coach at the beginning. You know, I was just like listening to one podcast of a million podcasts out there that are about mindset, and I've just picked the one that flicked the switch,
Yeah.
you know. And that's what people need. They need to get someone to flick their switch, and that's something that you offer
Hmm.
with artist coaching as well, in terms of mindset. And I think that's something that we can offer as well, not in terms of life coaching, but in terms of the helping hand.
I
You
think
know
what
what I
you
mean?
do is the same, but just on another aspect, as in you do it on a creative aspect. So
Yes.
where
Yeah.
we needed to figure out the music process, the music production process all by ourselves, or by reading books or whatever, because YouTube tutorials didn't really exist when we started.
Hmm.
Um, but having access to someone who has gone through it himself, who has all that knowledge, who has all that experience, and having the access to tap into the mind of that person, to me, is the most valuable thing you would ever get
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah. Totally.
So if it's on the creative level, if it's on the career level, or on the mental level, it doesn't matter. If you have the option to tap into someone's mind and to have access to someone who has been like 10 years ahead of you, having a mentor is kind of the best thing in life you can get.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why that's why in most cases grandparents work so well for people, because they have the experience. They've been
Yeah,
through it
that's true.
all.
That's true. That's
If
true.
if
Yeah.
you want to talk about relationships problems, talk with your grandparents. They've been through it, you know.
Yeah.
They've had it all. Like, name something, they've lived it. And I believe that that's the function of a mentor as well. Like, aside from all the practical tips, the things like how does a compressor work? Sure, that's something you can find on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
Don't call us for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know, that's how I think. But
Yeah. Yeah.
where I do think is the value is, hey, I've got this arrangement, but why doesn't it work on the dance floor? There's like these subtle little things that we know because we've seen 1,000 dance floors with so many different audiences.
Yeah.
And that's not something you can get from a textbook. That's something
No.
you only get from the experience. And I,
100%.
and I believe that that's the value a coach can bring, or a mentor, as you might call it. I don't know what people call it, but having a mentor, or having a coach on your creative level, on your career level, or the mental level, it's always valuable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's exactly what um, what I had in mind when I started this company. You know, that's why I said that's our key quote is making music for artists by artists,
Hmm.
because we are the artists that have been there 10 years ago,
Yeah,
the last 25 years, because we've seen the stages. We know what little clicks and little switches
yeah.
work. You know, there are
It's the
millions of,
nuances. It's the
yeah,
super little
exactly. It's
details.
in, and the experience, of course, you know.
Yeah,
So, and like you said, I think it's just essential, and it's that's what makes the businesses unique,
yeah,
because it's someone people probably have looked up to in the past, you know. And I mean, for me, for example, the initial contact, when people do the cold contact, the thing is, I always jump on the phone with the people. The first thing that I'll do, send us your phone number. Let's talk about it and let's see how we can help and how we can be of service.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what we can do to help you. And most of the time, directly after these phone calls, I get like text messages again or an email that people say, I'm so unbelievable motivated now to go ahead. You just like, you flick the switch, you know?
That's all you need.
And yeah, that's all you need. And I mean, I'm just happy that I can do that. And that brings me as much as having a full bank account. You know, it's like it's the 50-50 thing. You know, it's like, of course you have to earn money for a living. You know, but on the other hand, it fills my heart with absolute joy and happiness, being able to help people getting one step closer to their dream. You know?
Exactly, and that's the difference you just mentioned with you in the past. Like when you were touring that much, at that time, money was your drive, was the main essence of why you were working your ass off. Right now, with every person on the planet, money is important because we all need to buy food and have a roof above our head and blah blah blah. We have to pay our bills. But it shouldn't be the drive of everything. You need to find a balance between the salary that you get, but also the what's the right word? Like the fulfillment that you get from doing what you do. And the thing you just mentioned is the fulfillment, like hanging up with that person, getting a message that they flip the switch. That's part of the fulfillment. And of course, it's nice if you make some money on that, but only the money and taking out the fulfillment would probably not do the work, do the fun for you.
I would get numb.
Exactly.
You know? I would get numb, and it's just we had dozens of clients already, and it's just these people who have worked with us once always came back, which is a great sign. And most of the people that are coming back are so unbelievable thankful. You know, they know they've paid money, and they've probably have been grinding teeth at the beginning if they can afford it. But then afterwards, there was just like a 100% rate that people said, well, this was worth every single penny.
Yeah.
You know, so and because it's not just one job you get, it's something you learn for life. You know. Because the things that we help people with, for example, is something they learn with it. It's kind of a musical coaching as well. And also like giving them the positivity and the confidence in their music and in their skill. That, you know, that is something that money can't buy.
True. Super cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, that's super cliche. I know, but I mean, people always like to overcomplicate things, but in terms of mindset and stuff, that is something. It's no guru stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you can put yourself into a good mindset without doing a lot of work.
Exactly. And the thing what I noticed, and I just noticed that recently, is that over the last couple of years, I've started reading a lot about the self-help books or whatever. I just became super eager to learn in the last couple of years. So reading books or actually listening books was a big part of that. What I noticed is that once you start diving into that world of self-help books and you start reading like 5 or 10 of those books, you see a pattern, as in all those books kind of say the same thing, but in different words.
Exactly. And
exactly. If you can nail down those, maybe it's 5 things, I don't know out of my head, but maybe it's like 5 things that all those books write about. If you write down those 5 topics for yourself and say like, okay, this seems to be like the blueprint to unbalanced and happy life. Try to figure out if you can do it by yourself, because of course a coach can be really helpful, and I think why a coach could be helpful is because they dare you to think about things that you don't want to think about or maybe haven't thought about. So that's where talking to someone else could be valuable, but you can do so much things just by yourself.
Yeah,
And
you can.
that's the weird thing to me. The other things you also mentioned, the podcast. Listening to podcasts can already flip the switch for some people.
It did for me.
And it's free.
Yeah,
It's out there. You can listen to all those things. So it's not
yeah,
like you have to pay money to go to a coach to become happy. No, there's all those other resources out there that you can go to and
yeah.
just do it yourself. That's already the first step you can take. And then if you still not find your way out and you've tried all those things, then you can go to a coach, for example.
Yes,
But
I
I was
agree.
just amazed by the fact, like, wow, if you read all these books, they kind of say the same thing. I was
It
like,
does.
okay,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
one thing
mhm,
that is one thing that I've realized in terms of what they all say, what they had in common was always um, when your mind plays you the trick of falling into being in a bad mood. You know
mhm. Could
that
you
I
explain
mean,
that?
yeah. Well, I mean, you know that sometimes you are just like feeling absolutely sad. You're feeling grumpy um um and you don't feel fulfilled. You probably cry a couple of tears or something like that.
Mm,
It's actually nothing. Most of the time, it's nothing from the surrounding that does that to you. You know, not, everything
yeah,
around you. It didn't change over the last 2 3 hours. You
it's
know,
you.
it's still the same. It's
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
makes these thoughts occur.
yeah,
You know, and you are, if you can make those thoughts occur, you can turn them around as well. But that's a thing,
yeah,
because you've learned, people with depression learned to be depressed and
yeah.
having bad thoughts. And that's something you have to break the habit to become a new you. You know, this is something where you really have to be like a ninja
Yeah,
to be aware. That's the thing. You have to be aware that these bad
yeah.
thoughts are rushing in.
I think that that's the biggest challenge, or
100%.
well, to me, one of the biggest mind fucks was that the moment when I realized my thoughts are not necessarily who I am. And that's where I
That's
was
true.
like, what the fuck? It's like,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah,
telling me? You know, like, okay. And then everything started to make sense. Like, ah, okay, so when I feel bad, it's not necessarily the world that caused me to feel bad.
yeah. It's
It's my
yourself.
thoughts who told
It's
me
my
that.
brain. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And
exactly.
one of the things that I always find intriguing is Mandela, the Nelson Mandela. You know
Yeah,
him
yeah. Of
probably.
course.
He had this legendary sentence where he said, like, I haven't you can lock up my body, but you can't lock me up. As in
Hmm.
his mind, if you think about that you are on a beach, you can literally experience the heat, and that's how powerful your brain
That's
is.
exactly it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
that's how
That's
powerful your brain is, and that's
yeah,
what Mandela told. Like, you can lock up my body, but you can't lock me up in my
yeah,
brain. You know, like, I'm
yeah.
still free in my head.
That's the thing. The body can't tell the difference if it's
Exactly,
something from the outer world or from your mind. You know,
exactly,
you can actually make your body feel the same thing as if you would experience it physically.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know, and
that's that's
that's what people say. This is fucked up, man.
yeah.
You know, but it's absolutely true.
You
Listen,
know, that's what
we
music
have
does.
yeah,
That's what
exactly.
music does.
Yeah,
If some people, if you have listened to, if you went to a festival and if you've heard a certain song on a festival, and then 2 months later you listen to that song again, you
yeah,
get that same emotion.
yeah. The same rush.
That's what we call an anchor
Yeah.
in psychology, NLP.
One
An
second,
anchor.
one second, one second. It's
Is the live stream
20 sec.
ending?
It's ending. 20 seconds and we are gone.
Why is it
Let's
ending?
because it's just always 60 minutes and then it cuts off.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
stupid, isn't it?
But don't we
So
lose all the questions?
yeah, well then if the people are still watching, they should ask the questions again. We'll be back in 5 seconds. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.